Have you ever tried to bring a meme deck to a local tournament? My friend Thoralf is a good player. He even won a pro tour. And Mono Blue Tron is a beloved deck that plays lands that normally each tap for 1. But if you assemble the mine, the power plant, and the tower, they either tap for 2 or 3, totaling in 7 if you have all 3 of them in combination, allowing you to play from a sampling platter of game-ending spells. My personal favorite is taking someone's turn with Emrakul, the promised end, and whacking them in the face with it. And we're gonna pitch it against 3 strong modern decks to see if a good player can win with an ambitious deck.
Don't worry, I got this.
Howdy, mana tapper.
You prepared, I see.
I'm giving you the real Magic experience. You go to a game store, you have 3 different opponents, one of them's a cowboy, they say settle up partner, that's a yeehaw. So you're going first.
That's the advantage of playing a challenging deck. I'll play an Urza's Mine, 1 out of 3, and an Expedition Map, which basically is 2 out of 3 because it can, for 2 mana and sacking, get me any land I want. Howdy.
I'll draw, partner. I say that.
I got.
I'll play a Plains and tap it for a Guide of Souls. It's a 1/2, and whenever another creature enters the battlefield under my control, I gain 1 life, but not only that, I get an energy, and that's important in my deck, partners. And it has something else that happens when I attack, but we'll see that later.
Yeah, it will never come to that. It's fine. I'll play 2 out of 3. Was this power plant?
Ooh.
Go ahead.
Todd, your mistake is, this is the Wild West. We're all about attacking.
I thought the Wild West about striking gold.
It's also about taking 2 damage.
The big payoff.
Which I will do with my Sacred Foundry. We travel to the new world to take 2 damage.
It's kind of how it works.
And I'll play an Amped Raptor. It's very amped. It's a 2/1 first strike, and when it enters the battlefield, I get 2 energy. Shtung tung tung. That's me. After 1 coffee, this is me. Then, if I cast it from my hand, which I did, I exile cards from the top of my library until I exile a non-land card. And I cast that card by paying an amount of energy equal to its mana value rather than its mana cost. So when it enters the battlefield, because of my Guide of Souls, I gain 1 life and get an extra energy so now I can play a 3-drop. Woo! Welcome to Modern, muchacho. I pay 1 energy to put this Oswald Pride into the battlefield. It has first strike, lifelink, Ascend, which will do stuff later. And at the beginning of my end step, if I gain life this turn, I make a 1/1 white creature token. And if I have the Sadian's Blessing, we'll ascend and do stuff. But first, when it enters the battlefield, I gain 1 life again and gain 1 more energy. I'll go to attacks.
Yes?
I'll attack with my Guide of Souls, and because I attack and I'm attacking, I get to do the other ability that I spoiled earlier, which is I can pay 3 energy, and if I do it, put 2 +1/+1 counters and a flying counter on target creature, it becomes an angel. In addition to its other creature types.
Ah, so it is a human angel.
It's a human cleric angel.
How did...
The job market is very tough right now.
I see. I will also have millions of actions.
Okay. By millions, you mean you're gonna search your library for the 3rd Tron land and tap for 7 mana?
So many different things.
Such a complicated deck.
Yes.
Before you do that, end of my turn, I gain life, so there's a promise. Also Pride is gonna come with a kitty cat. It's just a 1/1, but it also wins over your heart.
It does. It needs to go. Draw.
Don't you dare!
When the Wild West cats just make diseases.
Or I won't be seeing you around this cactus no more.
Cactus?
Yeah, you hang around cactuses. That's what you do in the Wild West, right?
I play my tower. And now I have 7 mana as you promised, but unfortunately, I can't do anything with it.
Oh, you're just keeping mana up for no reason at all. I'm very confused.
I'm very unfortunate.
I'm gonna build some energy by playing another hub. It's a land that taps for any color mana if I use an energy, but when it enters, it gives me that energy that I can use. Until it's combo time. The twins are here. Double Trouble, Amped Raptor. Once again, we read that one. Enters the battlefield, I'll gain 3 energy.
Before it enters, I'll play Kozek's command. 5 mana. It has a lot of things, but for now I'm interested in 2 modes. Exiling a creature that costs 5 or less.
My trigger finger wasn't fast enough.
And making 5 Eldrazi spawns.
5?
Yes. All ones that you can sack for mana. That's gonna hold you off.
That's a lot of blockers. Now that you have your army of spawns, I have an Amped Raptor trigger on this deck. Yeah. I'm gonna gain 2 energy.
Okay.
And look at the top cards until I reveal a non-land card.
That's a line.
This one isn't. And I'll play a Flage. It's a 3 mana 6/6 that when it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it. But when it enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to any target and I gain 3 life. And if I exile 5 other cards from my graveyard, I can cast it. And I think getting your blockers doesn't do much here because 3 is more than the 2 that they deal, so I'm going to your face. And then we didn't come here to stare down balls of hay rolling down the field, so I'm gonna attack with my friends.
I have a lot of spare parts, so we're gonna use them for block 2.
Oh, so you need the other ones.
And then before the first strike resolves, I make 2 mana so you don't get any life.
Okay.
And then I'll take 1.
At the end of my turn, I gain life. It's happier now because I make a cat because I gained life.
Yes. All in all considered, not unhappy. I'll play an island, and then for the 8 mana now that I have, woo, I'll play Eugene. For -X, can exile every colored permanent that costs X or less. So we need a 2, right?
That's unfortunate.
Ugin is a healthy of 5 ones.
I noticed that you're Eldrazi.
Are colorless. +2, Ugin can deal 3 damage to any target, and if I ever get to 10, I gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, put 7 cards on the battlefield, win 7 games. One of those is alive. Figure out which one.
Tough guy. You've done a lot of tough guy things. But that's okay. Do you know what's in the Wild West? Prisons. Jails specifically. This is called Static Prison. And when it enters the battlefield, I exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until static permanent leaves the battlefield. I get 2 energy. And at every turn, it can escape jail if I run out of energy because I need to pay 1 per turn.
Luckily, I have this get out of jail free card,
Oh, that is a get out of jail free card.
which is a Force of Negation. So it counters target non-creature spell, and it is exiled. And for the low cost of just exiling my other blue card, paid my way.
You just exiled fun. I'm gonna play an Amptraptor. It has first strike. We read it twice already. So we're just gonna add 2 energy and look at the top cards of my library until I hit a non-land card.
Turns out you can't escape prison.
You can't. I'll play a Static Prison. I'll use 1 energy to do it, but when it enters the battlefield, I gain 2 energy, up to 3. And I'll exile this Ugin until it knows what it's done and it apologizes.
In my main phase, I will tap 3 mana to cast a Thirstful Knowledge.
Okay.
So I can draw 3 and discard 1 if it's an artifact, or 2 if it's anything. Luckily, I've planned ahead. So I've discarded this Talisman of Dominance, play an Otawara to have access to blue mana, and it's your turn.
On my upkeep, I'm gonna pay the Ugin tax. Staying in prison, so this town is safe
Just
from
like in real
banditos.
life. You know, Ugin needs a lot of meals, a good shower,
Yeah, Ugin's expensive to keep in prison.
right?
I'll play God of Souls. Remember that from turn 1. Because when I play creatures, like the one I'm about to play, I'll gain 1 life and get 1 energy. I will play an Ajani, the Cattle Pariah, which is neat. Oh, because it makes 2 creatures when it enters the battlefield. Because it comes with a friend, which is a 2/1 white cat warrior creature token. And whenever 1 or more other cats I control die, so if you do it again, I exile Ajani, then return it to the battlefield, transformed under its owner's control. We'll find out what that does. Now, 2 creatures enter the battlefield, so I go up to 4 energy and I gain 2 life. Now, because I have a life, I'm gonna go to attacks. May I?
Sure.
My Raptor's gonna go through, and this dinosaur is not here to kid around because I'm gonna use 3 energy
Right, I can't even
to
block.
turn it into a dinosaur angel.
That's... Ow.
All dinosaurs are angels. You take 4 because it flies and you can't block.
I need something good. One time, definitely did not work as intended. I'll tap 2 and play a Talisman of Creativity, which makes red or blue if I take a damage, or colorless if I don't, and it's your turn.
On the tap. Ugin? Not in this town.
But now you're empty, so...
Oh, my whole deck is called energy. It makes energy. I'll play an Ocelot Pride. It'll give me an energy.
Conveniently, I have a way to disrupt the energy. Go. Cat is going home.
And that flies.
It does.
That's annoying. Okay, well, my cat goes on the top of my library. I will lightning bolt my cat, which is never something you want to do.
That's quite rude.
My cat dies. But since my cat died, Ajani flips because he is mad. When Ajani flips, he becomes a planeswalker with 3 loyalty. If I +1, I put a +1/+1 counter on each of my cats. If I 0, I create a 2/1 cat warrior creature token. And when I do, if I control a red permanent, which I do, it deals damage equal to the number of creatures I control to any target. And since Ajani is angry, he's gonna make a cat. That will make me 1 energy. Thank you very much. I have 3 creatures, and you have 1 bandito.
It's dead. Very subtle tea.
And because we didn't come here to kid around, whoo, I'm getting in.
So, Spawn blocks the soul
Yes,
because it can. Unfortunately, the Raptor is still an angel.
it was always an angel.
Draw. Oy, oy, oy. Tron land. You?
You have so much mana.
I do.
Untap, and as a show of dominance, Ajani is released. I'm a Clement.
Woohoo!
Thoralf.
He's free!
Now I will get my Ocelot back. I will play my Ocelot. When the Ocelot enters the battlefield, I gain 1 life and get an energy. And because Ajani is furious at you, he's gonna make another cat. Then I'm gonna hit you in the face for 5.
That's suficiente. It turns out the town was too big for his wheels.
Next game.
Okay. I'm coming down from a loss, but I hope this one is better.
It won't be any better.
I'll play an Ugin's Labyrinth, which is one of the best cards my deck can offer. When it enters the battlefield, I may exile a colorless card with mana value 7 or greater. Now I show you an Emrakul, which I've done that. It adds 2 mana instead of 1, and if I ever want to, I can return the Emrakul to my hand, but then it would only make 1 mana. But now that it makes 2, we'll tap those 2 to play a Talisman of Creativity.
What a crazy card.
Already going off! 2 mana, Talisman makes, in this case, red or blue and deals me damage, but I tap it for colorless to play an Expedition map.
What is this? Why do you have 3 permanents on the board?
Okay, go ahead.
All right, as a pre-turn action, I need to shorten my sleeves. They're a bit... I think this is how it's intended to be worn. All right, now that I'm a proper pirate, I can take my turn. I'll draw. I'll play a Darkslake Shores, which enters the battlefield untapped because I only control 2 or fewer lands. And I will tap it, not quite as impressive as your turn, to cast a Preordain. I'll scry 2. I'll bottom both of them because they don't seem very good. And then I'll draw a card to top it off. Go ahead.
I'll draw.
No, I hate it when you make those noises. Always.
Right now, maybe not, but maybe later. Okay, I will take 1 for blue, and then we'll play a Thirst for Knowledge because I need lands. So I draw 3 cards, and then I discard 2 or an artifact. I was planning on playing the map, but I don't need it anymore.
You don't need a map? That's a bit scary.
I already found the treasure I'm looking for. I will play an Urza's Power Plant, 1 out of 3, and it's okay.
I will draw, and I will play an island to cast the namesake of my deck. No, actually just a Psychic Frog.
That card is so good.
It's a cute little 2 mana 1/1, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, I draw a card. And I can discard any of my cards in hand to put a +1/+1 counter on the frog, and I can exile 3 cards from my graveyard to give it flying until end of turn.
Okay, draw. As promised, I will play a 2nd Tron land. If I play Urza's Power Plant, it makes a colorless mana. If I play an Urza's Tower, it makes a colorless mana. But if I also play an Urza's Mine, so I have all 3, then Power Plant and Mine make 2 mana, and Urza's Tower makes 3. And I have a Labyrinth, so if I want, I can make like 9 or 10 mana next turn. And I don't really want to do anything now, so it's your turn.
I will untap, and I will draw my card for turn. I will play my land for turn. It's a Scalding Tarn, which I can sacrifice to search my library for any island or mountain and put it straight onto the battlefield. And then I'll head to combat.
Okay.
And I'll attack you for 1.
I'll take 1.
No. I will use the Psychic Frog's ability to discard a Toxic Deluge and a Cling to Dust to put 2 +1/+1 counters on it.
3 is not that big, right?
And I will draw a card. That's my turn.
At the end of turn, I will tap 2 to look for a Tron land.
I assumed so much.
Now, people would say there is no skill in finding the 3rd Tron land. Let me tell you, I did fetch the wrong one sometimes. But I found the mine. We all appreciate it. I'll play a mine. And now it's your turn.
That's not what I anticipated. I guess at end of turn, I will crack my Scalding Tarn and grab myself some Undercity Sewers. Now, it's a really nice land because it is an island, so I get to search it up with the Scalding Tarn. It's also a swamp, so it taps for black. And when it enters the battlefield, I get to Surveil 1. And in this case, put it into my graveyard because Emrakul costs 13 mana. I will draw. Now, first things first, I'll need to head into the red zone.
How much is it gonna be?
I would like to discard a Preordain to make it 4. And I don't think I want to discard anything else.
We'll tap the mine. And a Talisman.
Is that a damage?
To cast a Thirstful Knowledge.
I feel like drawing 3 cards when you have like a bazillion mana is pretty strong. So I will counterspell that. Thirst for Knowledge, which just reads counter target spell. It's a very straightforward card, counter spell.
You know what? I'm gonna take 4.
Take 4, and I will draw that one sweet additional card, play a Watery Grave, untap. And now I'll play the namesake of my deck, which is a Murktide Regent. Now Murktide Regent, it's a 7 mana 3/3, which doesn't seem very good, but it does have one crucial keyword, Delve. That means I can exile cards from my graveyard to pay for the colorless mana that it requires. So I will instead pay 2 blue mana and exile 5 cards from my graveyard to pay for it. And it enters with a +1/+1 counter on it for each instant and sorcery card exiled using Delve, which in this case is 5. So it's an 8/8 flyer, and whenever an instant or sorcery in my graveyard leaves the graveyard, it gets another +1/+1 counter.
End of turn, I will cycle a Lawrence Revealed, which gives me an island.
Also draws 3 cards.
It also draws 3 cards, but for now it gives me an island. And, most notably, a sorcery in my graveyard. I'll take an Emerald Quill to my hand. Ooh, I'll draw a card. I'll play an island. Now I have to do very high-level math. I have 13. Emerald Quill costs less for each card type in my graveyard, which is instant, artifact, and sorcery. So the base cost is 10, and I do have 10 mana.
Convenient.
Emerald Quill, the Promised End. When you cast Emerald Quill, you gain control of target opponent during that player's next turn. I'll take the Pirate. After the turn, the player takes an extra turn. Flying Trample, protect from instants, 13/13. Good luck.
Okay, so you're about to take my turn, is that right?
I didn't choose it, the cards did it.
I have a hunch you're not gonna use my turn well, so I'm gonna discard a Consider to add a counter to my Frog. And I'm gonna discard a Sink into Stupor to add to my Frog. And I'm gonna discard a Harbinger of the Seas to grow my Frog. And then I'll use my Frog's ability to exile 3 specific cards from my graveyard, to give it flying until end of turn, and to exile 3 instants or sorceries, so my Murktide Regent grows a little larger.
I didn't even need to do anything, you're just sabotaging yourself.
Yes.
I would like to draw a card.
Ding!
I'm gonna play it.
Oh, you're so nice. You're even advancing my board.
I'm gonna fetch.
Even nicer.
I was planning to give you nothing, but I found a better way. I'll take a sword. So instead of finding nothing, maybe I find you something you can keep. Okay, think of a card.
Okay.
Tell me the card.
Ancestral Recall.
It was not Ancestral Recall. It was an Orcish Bowmaster.
Now that seems like peak graveyard material to me.
No, I think you can draw that. I think there are better.
So nice of you.
I'm not done yet. I feel like this kitty catty is too big.
It's not a cat, it's a dragon.
Cats are just bigger dragons. They also lay eggs. Do cats lay eggs?
No.
Well, they're basically bigger cats. Okay, anyway, Emerald Quill eats dragons for breakfast.
All right.
I will exile 3 cards for the Frog. Is there any more resources I can deprive you of? No, right? Okay, your turn.
I'll untap. I'll draw a mystery card.
If this isn't Ancestral Recall now,
I will keep this mystery card in my hand and pass the turn.
I think that's fine. We'll draw. I will attack with an Emerald Quill.
I don't feel like blocking a 13/13, so I'd rather take 13 damage.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I have nothing.
All right. At end of turn, I'll flash in my Orcish Bowmasters.
What?
Now, Orcish Bowmasters, one of the better creatures in Modern. 2 mana, 1/1 flash. And when it enters the battlefield, or when you draw a card that's not your first draw step in a turn, I get to amass Orcs 1, which is just a 0/0 Orc token with 1 counter on it, and deal 1 damage to any target, which is you.
Before you untap, I will tap 4 mana and play a Cozy Legs combo. This is a very special card because it's a Kindred instant, meaning that it actually has 2 card types. The 4 options are, I'm going to tell you the ones I'm not choosing, exile up to X target cards from your graveyard, or target player creates X or 1 colorless Eldrazi spawns with Psych Aggro as a mana.
So you're not choosing those ones?
Correct. I'm going to choose exile target creature with mana value X or less, so 2. Orcish Bowmaster bites the dust. And target player scries X, then draws 1. So I'm going to scry to put that on the top, that on the bottom, then draw this card. And now you may do your turn.
I'm a bit suspicious about the Frog still being on the battlefield, but I will draw a card. And I will head into combat. Any blocks?
No.
No? I'll try to cast an Orcish Bowmaster. Now, once again, this one amasses orcs, so it adds to my orc army, and it deals 1 damage to you.
I will tap a blue and 2 colors to channel Otawara. I can discard Otawara. So normally it's a legendary land, it makes a blue, but if I discard from my hand and pay some mana, I can return an artifact, creature, enchantment, or planeswalker to its owner's hand. It costs 1 less because of Emrakul, but mainly I will return the frog to your hand, and that leaves me with 2 instead of 9 damage, which seems acceptable.
It doesn't seem lethal. I can play this Psychic Frog and pass the turn.
Well, I have my trusty companion, flying walkers that are bigger than 10/10.
Nah, 0. GG.
Hi.
Don't you hate it when you go to the shop and your last opponent is a card shark?
Call shark.
A card shark.
How many cards do you have?
7. Of course, I'm a card shark. I know how to draw cards. Thoralf.
That is actually impressive.
You go first because you're at a disadvantage because you're not a card shark.
I'll start with an Urza's Tower and an expedition map.
Funny that you need a map. I've been around since the time of the dinosaurs. I will force a negation that by pitching this counterspell. I will exile it and I counter it for free.
What do you mean shark?
Sharks are actually kind of nice if you've ever watched the Discovery Channel. I'll draw.
So if you don't watch the Discovery Channel, they're not nice?
And then I will play Flood and Strand. I love when things are flooded because I get to swim around in them.
I'll draw. I'll play a Hauler Storm Giants, which enters untapped if it's one of my first 2 lands, and then it makes a blue, or eventually gets a 7/7 blue giant creature with ward. Let me ask you, what wins in a big fight of an ocean? A measly shark or a huge stone Atlantis?
Sharks, every time.
And for 2, I play a Talisman of Dominance, meaning mixed colors, or black or blue for damage. You go.
I will sacrifice my strand for a Thundering Falls, which is a land that allows me to surveil, because sharks are surveilling. Ooh, I want that. Keep it on top of my library. Untap for turn. Draw a card shark. And this must be the Wild West, because I'm going to take 2 damage for this card to enter untapped, because that's what they do in the Wild West, according to that cool cowboy you played against earlier. I'll pass the turn to you.
Wait, how do you know?
I'm a shark, I smelled it.
Ah, see, and cowboys don't really have...
Cowboys smell terrible.
Yeah, I feel you. I'll play an Urza's Labyrinth. So now when it comes to play, I can show you a card that's colorless with mana value 7 or greater. Luckily 8 is bigger than 7, and now it makes 2 mana until I get the card big. So for 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's a lot of mana.
That is. I will cast a Portent of Calamity with 4. So I reveal now the top 4 cards of my library. For each card type, I may exile a card from that type. If I exile 4 or more different card types, I can play the cards exiled with it without paying mana costs. And if not, I can put them to my hand. So, as an example, just an example, right? I'll show you now an expedition, which is an artifact.
Okay.
And I will show you a Lauren Revealed,
Which is a sorcery.
So now we're 2 for 4. And then I show you an Urza's Tower, which is a land. And so if this is an Emrakul, bing bong.
Put them all into play. Oh.
So now, since I didn't hit the jackpot, I can take for each card type 1 card and get it to my hand. So Urza's Tower is dismissed and the rest goes to my hand.
I will cycle this Lorien Revealed. It's island cycling, which is ironic because sharks hate islands because that's where the prey hide. Wait. So I'll go get an island. Actually, you know what, Todd? It's time. Evolution! Sharks with hands!
Oh no. This is what they have always feared.
I'll get an island.
Why? Like, an island is basically just made of earth. Like, and sharks don't like earth. It should be an ocean.
It's the opposite of what sharks like.
It's mana. Like, blue mana should be water.
I'll take that up with the Shark Council. I'll play an island, and I'll pass the turn to you.
Untap.
Now that sharks can high five, the world is in danger.
I'll play an Urza's Power Plant.
Ooh, Tron is almost online.
Alright, I need 1 more. Given in that notion, I would like to cast an expedition map. Does it resolve?
I'm a shark. What's a counter spell?
fair point. I forgot who I'm talking to. I will tap 2 mana from my Labyrinth and cast a Talisman of Dominance as well. And it's your turn.
I'll draw. So you have a lot of mana next turn. I will. Were you about to answer the question?
A lot covers the amount of mana.
Well, then I will surveil, which doesn't have anything to do with a lot. But I will look at the top card of, ooh, a lot of value, you mean? Because I'll basically draw a card. I'll put this Flage into my graveyard. It's a Titan. You might have seen it in round 1. I don't know. I just smelled it. It smelled like a Flage. And then I'll pass the turn to you.
I will sack the map. I will get a mine to the surprise of literally nobody. Draw for turn. I wish you would do more, but I cannot wait for you to do more.
I'm a shark. What do you expect? I just evolved hands.
Yeah, not good enough. I'll play the mine, and then we'll use the Labyrinth to take back the Leveler.
Okay.
It's not in my hand. And then for 8 mana, we'll cast it. So, 8 mana, trample, 8/8. When you cast a spell and whenever it attacks, destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent, a controller creates a tapped Power Stone token. And for 8 mana, it's unearthed, which means it comes back from the graveyard.
I would like to have it. I'm going to tap 3 and play a Invert Polarity. Haha. Now we're in shark waters. Choose target spell, then flip a coin. If you win the flip, gain control of that spell, and you may choose new targets for it. If you lose the flip, counter that spell. So either I counter it, or I have it.
Yeah, you countered. Please.
Now, like any good shark mama, I kept a shark baby in my shark pouch. I'll flip the shark. If it comes up shark, I get this. What do sharks say? Ding, 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 ding. I get a shark.
Wait, wasn't that a frog?
Fox. We speak the same language. So I will now gain the Cityscape Leveler. I may choose new targets. The target is this board.
That went worse than expected. Yeah, you go.
I'll untap, and let's let the good times roll or swim around. I'll attack, and I may destroy your amulet and replace it with a Worn Power Stone.
Yes, so Talisman goes, and it creates a tapped Power Stone, which makes 1 colorless that can't be spent to cast non-artifact creatures.
It also does this really cool thing where it hits you for 8 in the face.
Oh, well, it does hurt if a whole city hits you.
Is your face a city? I thought not. I'll tap 4 and I'll play the One Ring because I have hands now.
No.
No, they're right here.
Even evolution can't stop you from countering this.
Ah, my ring.
I will exile Lawrence Revealed. I'll counter it and remains exiled. Alright, so I just have to deal with a mere 8/8 for 8.
You gave it to me.
Alright, we do what we have to do. We tap all for 11 and then cast a Cozy Legs command for 9. And this time we're gonna exile target creature with mana value 9 or less.
That's my creature.
And make 9 colorless Eldrazi spawns.
So you get spawns. In response to that, I will Galvanic Discharge. Wait, I just need to make sure. Yes. I will Galvanic Discharge my own Cityscape Leveler. So I choose target creature or planeswalker, and I get 3 energy. This is the cowboy when he got zapped. And then I may pay any amount of energy and he deals that much damage to target permanent. Not energy is what I choose.
You just wanted 3 energy.
Yes. And then it's exiled. Congratulations.
It is exile address, unfortunately. And we make 9 spawns.
That's a lot of spawns. Oh, you are prepared.
Since we made so many, we'll sacrifice 4 of them because we don't need them to cast the One Ring as well.
Ooh, that's annoying.
So you know what the upside about this One Ring is?
I can wear it now because I'm a shark with hands.
It resolves and actually does something. 4 mana, legendary artifact, indestructible. When the One Ring enters the battlefield, I gain protection from everything, anywhere, anytime until the end of next turn. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life for each burden counter, and for tapping, I draw X cards, where X is the number of burden counters, and add a burden counter. So now I add a burden counter.
You've said the burden counter a lot.
You can see me how burdened I am in a draw. So many burden.
That's how the sentence works.
Go.
I'll untap and draw. Well, thank you for reading it for me, because I will also play the One Ring.
It's only 1, definitely.
Well, I will add myself a burden counter as well, because I would like to draw a card. I'll play a Scalding Tarn and pass the turn.
I will take one.
Because you're burdened?
I'm very burdened. Jim burdened. That's what they call me.
But your name isn't even Jim, it's Thoralf. Why aren't you Thoralf burdened?
I would tap it to add a burden counter.
Yes. And draw 2.
1, 2.
Isn't Magic fun when you draw so many cards?
I will play an Urza's Mine, and I would like to cast a banana phone.
Oh, I'm so sorry, that's not a banana phone.
It is. It's a ring, 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 ring.
Oh, that was very funny.
Thank you.
That was hilarious.
So it enters.
We witnessed a miracle.
I'm burden free.
For now.
Your turn.
I'll fetch.
I have too many burdens.
You literally have 0. So I'll make myself surveil again. My lands. I don't want this because I already have energy. And I'm not even using it. I'll untap, and unfortunately, I have issues. I'll draw. I will draw 2 more cards.
Okay.
More jewelry burden.
More burden. I mean, the only way of dealing with your credit card buying jewelry stress is to buy more jewelry.
Please don't take his financial advice. It's terrible.
Also invest in Nados.
And I'll play planes and use double white to Wrath of the Skies. I may pay a certain amount of energy, and when I do, I destroy everything that costs less than that amount of energy.
So I don't know how much you're willing to pay.
It's at least 0.
And you seem like a maniac.
I'll just swim as I wait.
I'll add a colorless.
Yes.
A colorless that can't be spent for non-artifact spells. And 5 more colorless.
Yeah, spending a lot of mana.
You can resolve your card.
That's suspicious. I'll use 2 energy.
Yep, that destroys the Power Stone and the Talisman of Dominance.
And now that you have a suspicious amount of floating mana,
Don't worry about it.
I'll go into my attacks.
If I remember correctly, somewhere above my head is my floating mana.
Yes, there's a lot of it.
And it says I can use 6 of those 7 to cast the command because this is not an artifact. And then I add another 7, so for x equals 11, I'll make 11 tokens and look at the top 11, scry 11.
Do we have 11 tokens?
Cards. The Cardmarket, we have everything. In case you want to buy something. I don't think I've ever scryed 11 in my life.
This is the first here in Cardmarket.
I found the one constellation that leads to victory, like in the movie. I put those 6 on top, those 5 on the bottom, and then for a bonus of achieving this, I draw some.
I'll play a Flage. When it enters the battlefield, I sacrifice it unless it escaped. But it just did.
It did.
So we read the rest of the text. When it enters, it deals 3 damage to you, and I will gain 3 life. It does this as well when it attacks. Where are your spawns?
That's a good point.
Very impressive.
At the end of the turn, I've lived burden-free for too long. I'll draw a card.
Literally like a half a turn.
Too long. I'll take one because I have so many burdens.
7 is a precarious life total.
I wish I didn't have so many burdens. And I draw a card. Life is fun if you draw so many cards. Look, we didn't come here to not draw cards. More cards. I mean, this sounds a bit funny, but I don't have a land. Now, there was absolutely nothing I could have done. So it's just your turn.
Oh, I was expecting a big, cool turn. So I'm going to cycle this Lorien revealed. It's going to cycle for an island because it's called Island Cycle. But I won't just get an island, it'll be an island mountain. Sharks are evolving. First hands, then rock climbing equipment. I will take 2 from my burden and I'll draw for my card shark turn. So I need to get rid of that plethora, that troop. You got a football team worth of Eldrazi spawn there. I don't know how many people are in a football team. I'll assume it's 11.
Yes, very good.
Ah, haha, Sporty Carl, I'll draw 3 cards. Unfortunately, I don't have the card I request, so I'm just gonna hope that a few swings and you're in Troubletown. I'll declare attacks. When I attack, I'll deal 3 damage to you, and I'll gain 3 life.
It doesn't trample, right?
Unfortunately, that's one thing it does not do.
Lovely. I will sacrifice my spawn.
I will shock with the Steam Vents, because my life total is doing swimmingly, which is something sharks do. Pass the turn.
At the end of turn, I will tap 3 to cast a Thirst for Knowledge. So I draw 3 and then discard 2 or an artifact. Then it's only 1.
That's a great card.
I will draw 3. I will discard this Expedition map, which is an artifact, but also this Emrakul, which is not an artifact.
You know you don't need to discard it if you discard an artifact.
I don't, but I can. I could.
He misclicked.
But now that I actually discarded this Emrakul, let's read it.
While it's here.
Maybe it does something. Madness, pay 6 colors. I do get to play it. Well, then we can read it. Because Madness says when I discard it, I can pay the Madness cost to play it instead of, well, discarding
How convenient.
it. What are the odds by discarding randomly discard? Gain control of all creatures target player controls. When Emrakul leaves the battlefield, sacrifice all creatures you control. Okay, no, that's not gonna do that. That's bad. But it's also a 12/12 flying with protection from spells or permanents that were cast this turn.
Whoa. It doesn't hit the table.
It's cast. I have to pay for it.
It doesn't hit the table.
Okay, well, first I get your Flage.
Congratulations.
And then I'll get a 12/12.
No, before it hits the table, it's on the stack. And it doesn't say that it can't be countered.
It doesn't.
I will play a counter spell. It says counter target spell.
And it is a spell. That is correct. We're not gonna let that happen, hopefully. So a counter spell cast in a turn that's not mine means that I can use a Force of Negation and counter it by exiling a card.
So Force of Negation happens, unfortunately. You get rid of my counter spell. It's exiled.
Yes. Emrakul.
Nope, not so fast, young man. Young human. I'll play Subtlety. It's a 3/3 flash flying elemental incarnation, and when it enters the battlefield, choose up to one target creature spell or planeswalker spell, which is this one, because it's on the stack, so it's still a spell. And its owner puts it on the bottom or top of their library.
What is the right number? Let's say the right number is 6.
What?
I'm gonna sacrifice 6 spawns and cast a Codex command for 6. I'm gonna scry 6 and draw a card, but also exile up to 6 cards from your graveyard because, you know.
You don't even want the spawn friends.
No, it's fine.
There's enough friends already.
They're fine where they are. So we're gonna do most of this and that and this, 2 on the top, 4 on the bottom. And then we're gonna draw a card, which is a Subtlety.
How?
I mean,
Lucky.
I had one banked, but
I don't think it helps me right now. So it's unfortunately going to go at the bottom of my library.
fortunately, nothing can help you right now. My turn?
Oh, it's true. It's my turn. Yes, that's the end of my turn.
All of this was at the end of your
so
turn.
productive.
I have a lot of burden, which would almost kill me, but not quite.
Something went wrong somewhere.
And then I draw a card. Now, muchacho, as you've conveniently called me. I mean, the cowboy called me.
Cowboy, the very cool cowboy that I've never met before.
In the
but a
beginning
good
of the
smell.
video, it's payback time. You take
Unfortunately,
21.
I take 3. And after the 3, you've taken down the card shark. I'll go back under the sea. Okay, I'll take this costume off.
Wait, you're not a shark?
No, it's me! I was the shark all along! I know I had a very, very convincing shark costume. Do you want me to blow your mind? I was also the cowboy.
No way!
Yeah, that was me! The cowboy was me all along!
Were you also the pirate?
Hold on to your seat. That was Yaman! He was the pirate! Woo!